Okay, so I'll just start this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 29th chapter and 32nd verse. Am I audible to everybody? Okay, fine. Fine. So, before starting, I'll just chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namah. So this is from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 29th chapter and 32nd verse. And this is explanation of devotional service by Lord Kapila. Chapter's name. Now here this verse is Arthagyat Samshaya Cheta Tata Shreyan Swakarmakrit Mutta Sangas Tato Bhuyan Adogdha Dharmam Atmanaha. So what in this chapter Lord Kapila, he is explaining devotional service, but to praise devotional service and to actually put it on highest platform, to help us understand there is nothing equal or nothing greater than devotional service. Lord Kapila is trying to help us understand what is the meaning of Taratmaya. Now Taratmaya is a technical term which simply means that there are gradations. Not only among human beings, among everything. There are gradations in gunas, in laws of nature. There is like mode of ignorance, passion, goodness. Above ignorance is passion, above passion is goodness. There are gradations among living beings, which Lord Kapila has already explained, that living entities who can perceive sound are better than those. Living entities who have developed sense perception are better than those who have developed sense of taste, and better than that sense of touch, better than that sense of smell, better than sense of hearing. So there are divisions among living entities, there are division among objects. Animate beings are more higher than inanimate beings. And even in animate things, trees are very low, are the lowest, and then comes animal kingdom. So like that, there is division, gradations among everything. There are gradations among time. Morning time is better than afternoon. Afternoon time is better than night. So similarly, there are gradations among Brahmanas. There are gradations even among Vaishnavas. There is no place, or there is no object, there is no circumstance where there is no gradation. It's just like a rainbow. The sunlight appears yellow or white. So we have white light. Light is light. But we all know that when light is refracted by a prism, it has 7 colors. There is gradation in light, although it appears one. So Madhvacharya in his commentary, Prabhupada quotes in one of his purport of Srimad Bhagavatam, says that anybody who tries to equate everything, just like in America, everybody is equal. So everybody tries to equate everybody, he is in illusion, because that's not reality. Everybody is not equal. Spiritually they are equal, but on material level, there are gradations, and there have to be gradations. Even on spiritual level, there are gradations. When you talk of the taste, so when you talk of rasa vichar in spiritual world, there is gradation. For example, Srimad Bhagavatamrit, Sri Bhagavatamrit, Brihad Bhagavatamrit, Sanatana Goswami says that better than Dwarka devotees or Hastinapur devotees, better than Hastinapur, that is Pandavas, so I just got the opposite. Better than Pandavas, there are so many devotees better than them is Prahlad Maharaj, better than them is Pandavas, better than them is Dwarka devotees, better than them is Uddhav, and better than them is Brajvasis, and the best is Radharani. We all know there is gradation even in spiritual world. But that gradation in spiritual world, we have to remember, that is according to rasa vichar, according to taste and the bliss they experience and the service attitude they have. But as far as philosophical understanding is concerned, everybody's spirit soul. So it's just like light and 7 colors within light. Philosophically, everybody is spirit soul if we talk of this material world. But at social level, in this material world, at social level, there are differences, and there has to be differences. That is, and gradations. That is why Krishna established Varnashram system. Chaturvarnayam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagasa. The Varnashram system we all know: Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, then Shudras, and all these Varnas are there. So I was just mentioning, Madhvacharya mentions in one of his purports that anybody who tries to equate everything, anybody who tries to make everything equal on social level, not from the perspective of everybody's spirit, soul, and a part and parcel of Krishna, not from that perspective, but from social perspective, just like America, just like communism, they try to equate everybody. In fact, communism in Hindi is called a Samyavad. Everybody is equal. And then, or just like modern Western understanding, males, females are equal, Shudras, Brahmans are equal, children, adults are equal, everybody is equal rights. That's absolutely absurd. Madhvacharya says that is demoniac. It is a demoniac understanding to make everybody equal on social platform. Now it's a very big statement. It's a very big statement to call a society as demoniac where everybody is on equal platform. And we know it's demoniac because the result of demoniac system or understanding, that is always suffering. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, pralantam upashrita, till the last devastation, till pralay, demons will have no peace. So we all know history of communism. Russia, it was divided and people were so unhappy, and actually it led to a holocaust in Russia, communism. So here Lord Kapila is making one point, and that's the point is that there are gradations among human beings. That is called taratmaya. And according that gradations is according to adhikar. Now we have to understand that gradations because that's reality, and try to aim at best. There are something, you don't want mode of ignorance, you want mode of goodness. So we have to distinguish. That is called as vivek. So vivek means discrimination. The power of discrimination or the gift of discrimination is given by God, as Lord Kapila is explaining, to help us opt for better and best, and then serve Lord Krishna in the best of our capacity. Without discrimination, we are simply animals. In fact, it is said, the first mercy of Lord is vivek, and that's there in Bhagavad Gita. Tesham satyoktanam bhastam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamapantite. Krishna gives buddhi, and that buddhi is defined as vivek or discrimination. Now what is that discrimination? Now Krishna says, well, you have to discriminate people who are reading scriptures. You have to discriminate people who are within devotional service. He's advising us. That's why he's telling us. Everybody is not same. Everybody who reads scriptures are not same. Everybody who follows devotional principles are not on same level. And to say, no, everybody is at same level, don't try to discriminate, it's an Vaishnava offense. Actually, not to discriminate is a Vaishnava offense. That's what it is explained by Acharya Prabhupada. He will explain. So, Prabhupada says, Lord Kapila makes a point here. There is gradation among everything, but there is also gradation among people who read Vedas. Now, in the last verse, he begins his description. He says, Brahmaneshu api vedagyo. He says, in Varnashrama, Brahmanas are highest, Shudras, Vaishya, Kshatriya and Brahmana. Among Brahmanas, Brahmaneshu api Vedagyo. This is the last verse, 31st. Lord Kapila says, among Brahmanas are those Brahmanas who are Vedagya, who have studied Vedas. This means there are Brahmanas who have not studied Vedas. So, if you read Dharma Shastras like, for example, Manu Samhita, Vadhayan Smriti, Ashwalayan Smriti, there are so many Dharma Shastra. All Dharma Shastra, especially Ashwalayan Smriti, it quotes the gradation of Brahmanas, and it says there are various types of Brahmanas, and one Brahmana is that who is Brahmana in namesake. So that is Brahmana. And these type of Brahmanas are generally Duja Bandhu, they are called as. They are the relatives of Brahmanas. They are born in Brahman family, but they have no idea what are Vedas. So they are friends of Brahmanas, let us call like that. They are exactly not Brahmanas. So these kind of Brahmanas must be respected, but they should not be followed. So that the Dharma Shastras are very critical for this point. So among Brahmanas, who is better? Who has understood Vedas? Vedagyo, who actually studied Vedas, not really understood to a certain extent. But among those who have studied Vedas, arthagyo abhidekastata, those Brahmanas are better who have actually understood the meaning of that. That is why in Vedas it is mentioned, in Rig Veda it is mentioned, kim richa karishyati, yastanna veda kim richa karishyati. Very famous statement. It is said, yastanna veda. Anybody who doesn't understand, Veda means know here, anybody who doesn't know the meaning of Vedic aphorisms, kim richa karishyati, richa means sutra, what the sutras or the shlokas of Vedas can do for them. It's a waste of time for him. It's like a blind man wearing spectacles. It's a burden. It's like a poor man carrying the crown of a king. It's not only a burden, but it's dangerous. So similarly, people who read scriptures but who don't understand the meaning of those scriptures, they are not fit to be in real sense called as Brahmana. Brahman should understand the meaning, and this is very important to understand for all of us also. We are also reading Bhagavatam and all these Prabhupada books, but if we simply read and if we don't understand it, the books and the knowledge of books will simply be burden. And that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, they are Baharvahi, they are not Saragrahi. These are two words, Baharvahi, Saragrahi, very famous, very important word. Baharvahi means they simply carry a load of knowledge like a donkey. That's all. And Saragrahi means who can extract the essence and tattvaha and the reality and the conclusions of the scriptures. So we should not be like donkeys. We should be like swan, Saragrahi. We should read Prabhupada books and understand the conclusions and the mood and the spirit of Srila Prabhupada and his books. That's more important than understanding information and points and stories. That's okay, you can do that. But that's an ornamentation. That's not the person. We want the person, we don't want ornaments. Similarly, we want the conclusion, the intent and the spirit of Srila Prabhupada rather than some kind of dry knowledge. We have to keep in mind. So Lord Kapila, he's giving us gradations, but at the same time, you see, he is trying to develop our discrimination power by giving discrimination to the society. By giving gradations in the society. Okay, some people are like, so if Lord Kapila is saying, you see the society, you see people who are reading Vedas, and you will able to make out some Brahmanas have not read Vedas, but they are Brahmana in sake. Some Brahmanas have read Vedas. Among them, people who have read Vedas, they have understood the meaning. So Kapila says, try to learn from it. Try to apply that principle. I am telling a social structure. Try to observe this word and try to learn from it. So there are something called details and principles. Here Lord Kapila is talking about details. Okay, among Brahmana community, these are types of Brahmanas. But then you might ask, okay, So what has this got to do with me? They are Brahmanas, let them be there, let them read Vedas, let them not understand Vedas. Who the hell cares for them? But no, this is wrong because it is said in Ayurveda, an intelligent person learns from observing this word. All knowledge comes from observation. Everything is there in this word. Simply you have to observe and extract the principles and apply the same principles into your own devotional life, into your own Vaishnava principles. And we'll always learn. Like suppose, like this Prabhupada was going in, I think, New York somewhere, and Prabhupada was walking with his disciple, and he was talking about we are not this body and this and that. So there was a red light. He stopped, so on the other side of the road there was a girl standing with mini skirts. It was snowing. She was standing and it was so cold. It was snowing. So Prabhupada said, "You look at her." And the disciple said, "Well, I was even looking before you said." He was thinking. This Prabhupada disciple, he said his pastime, so he was telling what he was thinking. So he said, "Anyway, I'm looking, Prabhupada said, "Okay." Prabhupada said, we can learn from her. We can learn how determined she is to show her skin, her flesh, her body to others. Even when it is so cold and snowing, she is wearing a mini skirt. So we can learn, this is how we should be determined for Krishna. So Prabhupada learns by observing. A fool cannot learn from observation. That's a fool. A wise man, whatever he observes, he keeps on learning. It is said in scriptures, a fool wants to teach. A wise man wants to learn. We think simply the opposite, no? Fool wants to learn and wise wants to teach. It's not like that. Fool wants to teach, and that's the sign of a fool. Fool wants to speak, a wise man wants to hear. That's a sign of a wise man. So we learn from this. Okay, what has this to do with me? Brahmanas, Vedagyo, Arthagyo. We can apply the principle, not the detail. We don't care for Brahmanas. Okay, fine. They are there, let them be there. But the point is, we should not become a Vaishnava community should not imbibe this kind of principles that we read Prabhupada books and we don't understand. In fact, sometimes it happens, we keep on reading but we don't understand. To understand, you have to do mananam. Actually, it is said, Prabhupada says, Shravanam mananam, you hear and contemplate. To understand book, you have to contemplate, but to contemplate, you have to do discussion. That is said in scriptures. Prabhupada, I think Prabhupada somewhere gives the meaning of mananam as sometimes he says contemplation, sometimes he says discussion. In fact, in Vedic dictionary, mananam is also contemplation, but it is also a discussion, because only by discussing you're forced to contemplate. You discuss with somebody, and then somebody asks questions, and then you're forced to contemplate.
Right.
Otherwise, you are reading, you don't even have questions in your mind. How will you find answers for that? So, remember, manana means contemplation. Contemplation means discussion. In fact, Prabhupada redefines smaranam. Many places he speaks smaranam and remembrance, but one place, in one of his lectures, Prabhupada says, Shravanam is hearing, smaranam is discussion. Prabhupada says. So we have to discuss, and otherwise we will not understand what we are doing. So this is Arthagyo. But Kapil Muni says, there are Brahmanas who understand Vedas, but better than them, Arthagya Samshaya Cheta. Better than them are Brahmanas who can dissipate doubts. Now Arthagya means, so now I am on 32nd verse. Prabhupada defines Arthagya as one who knows the purpose of Vedas. So Artha means purpose, Gya means knows. Artha in Sanskrit, if this word is used independently, not with some other word. So if Artha is used after some other word, then Artha means for him. Like for example, Purushartha, Purush plus Artha. So it is used after Purush. So Purushartha means, Purush means efforts or goals. Artha means for. Purushartha means doing something for that particular type of goal. Purushartha. But if Artha comes first and after that some word comes, there Artha means, it can mean money. One of the meaning of Sanskrit of Artha is money. One meaning of Artha is value, but money has a value. Another meaning of Artha is purpose. So there are many meanings of Artha. Here Artha means purpose. So Prabhupada writes, a person who knows scriptures but who doesn't know the purpose of scriptures, he is actually not in knowledge. That is why Prabhupada says, better than people who have read scriptures are those who know the purpose of scriptures. So we can understand from this. When we read Prabhupada books, we have to understand the purpose. Why Prabhupada is saying this. That purpose is important. And the purpose, universal purpose, is of course love. The purpose to understand everything is love. If we don't develop our capacity to love God, it's all waste. It's all shramaiva kevalam. Sometimes Prabhupada speaks something and the purpose is to inspire us to preach. It's not just simply some points like Prabhupada letters. Prabhupada says so many things, but the underlying purpose of letters is to inspire us to fulfill the mission of Lord, that is preach. So, one who understands the purpose, he is better than one who doesn't understand the purpose. Better than those who understand the purpose are those samshaya cheta, who can dissipate all doubts. Now we can understand from this, some Brahmanas, they understand but they can't explain. That's the idea. So better than people who understand are those who understand and explain, because person who cannot explain has not understood. That is said in Chanakya Niti or somewhere else, I just forgot, but that's said in scriptures, and it's common sense. If I ask you, so explain me what you have read, and you can't explain, that this means you have not understood anything, no? Like teacher asks a student. So samshaya cheta, you should be able to explain the subject. Then what you have read, you can understand. Otherwise you will not be able to understand. That is why Prabhupada said, preaching will help you more than the person whom you are preaching. Prahlad Maharaj says to Krishna, if we are engaged in if we are engaged in serving you, it helps us and not you. Just like in front of mirror, you decorate your reflection, and in the process you get decorated. Similarly, when we preach others, it will benefit us. Let nobody understand, no problem, if they cannot understand. But if you try to explain others, then in the process you will understand everything. So that is arthagya samshaya cheta, who can dissipate all doubts. To actually dissipate doubts of others, you need good amount of knowledge, because they can ask any doubt. So many people come to us, they ask so many doubts. So you have to be well versed in scriptures. Not only well versed, but you should have been able to well apply themselves in your life. That is why Prabhupada says, Tata Shreyan Swakarma Krit. Better than people who have dissipated doubts are those who strictly follow the Brahmanical principles. So in other words, if we don't follow devotion, if we don't follow what we have read, we will not be even able to explain it to others. By following we understand. Not by understanding you follow. It doesn't happen the other way around. First you try to understand something, then you follow, and after following you really understand that. And that is what Prabhupada says in one of his lectures. Prabhupada says there are 5 levels of devotion, and we have heard that pratyaksha, paroksh, aparoksh, adhokshach, aprakrit. These are levels of understanding. So first level of understanding is you see and learn. Okay, you are seeing this word. So some new person comes, he sees, okay, he's chanting, let me chant. He's doing arti, let me do arti. That is pratyaksh. He understands something, but that is the fifth level of understanding, pratyaksha. But then when he associates, he reads scriptures. That is paroksh. He sees through eyes. Para means other. Aksha means eyes. He sees from the eyes of other. What is that other? Shastra. Shastrakshu. He reads scriptures, and after reading scriptures, he becomes convinced that chanting is important. And then he chants. So now his chanting is not simply observation. Now his chanting is coming from a conviction, not just from observation. This is called paroksh. Conviction in scriptures. But then, next level of understanding is aparoksh. He now, when he keeps on chanting, he gets some realizations. And he realizes that holy name is Krishna himself, which he read in scriptures. He was convinced, but he didn't really realize it within his soul. That was intellectually was convinced. That is aparoksh. Aparoksh is, paroksh means looking through eyes of scripture, some other. And aparoksh is you add a. Now you are not seeing from others' eyes, again you are seeing from your own eyes. Apara, aparoksh. But this time you are not seeing from the same eyes what you were seeing at the level of observation when you were new. Now your eyes are trained in scriptures. Now your eyes have realizations by chanting. And now you are seeing everything. And now this is a different level. You are seeing through your own realizations, through eyes of your own soul. So this is aparoksh. Now you have realized and actually internalized things. So that is called as aparoksh. So you see the point. Pratyaksha is coming from reading, but aparoksh level comes from following. So to put it simply, how do we understand anything? First you understand something, little bit, intellectually. Then you follow it. And then you really understand that subject matter by realizing it. Now it's not intellectual level, no? So this is with everything. You read any subject. If you want to if you want to operate an instrument, first you understand something by reading the manual. Then you operate it. And then after you operate it, then you no longer need to read manual. It becomes natural and spontaneous to you. And then you can function with that instrument much better than what you have read. It becomes natural. So that is tata shreyan swakarma krit. And better than him, one who is liberated from all material contamination. Better than person who is following is a person who is liberated from all material contamination. Brahmanas. The result of following is purification. The result of understanding must be purification. If that's not happening, following has not much value. And better than people who are materially, who are pure, are devotees of Lord. Why? Because a Brahmana his heart may be pure by reading Vedas and understanding them. But absolute purity is to understand Krishna. Can we tell her, like this is little, or we can go in that room?
Yeah, I think we.
So this is how these gradations are there, and we can learn from this. Mukta sangha tato bhuyan adhogda dharma atmana. So this is how we can learn from observing Brahmanical community, and we can apply those principles in our life. Idea is don't just read Prabhupada books, understand them. Don't just understand them. Try to preach that knowledge. Try to give it to others. Don't just give it to others. Try to follow. Don't just follow. Try to follow in such a way so that you have some effect. That is, your heart becomes pure. And don't just make your heart pure. Try to use that purity to serve the Lord. That's the idea there. That's the whole sequence. So that's what Kapil Muni says. And then Kapil Muni, Prabhupada says in his purport, just as we have gradations in Brahmanas, we have gradation among Vaishnavas also. So I told you everything has gradation. So this discrimination power, what we get from observing this community, we have to apply within Vaishnava community. Otherwise, we can be in problem. Because if we start associating with people who are lower than us, of course nobody is lower, we are the lowest of low, but we started associating with new devotees, we can fall down. We don't have to take the association. We can give our association to them, but not take their association. People who are new. That's the idea. So that Rupa Goswami says there is Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam and Uttam, and our dealing should be different to all of them. So that's very important. Why we are trying to learn these gradations? One important point is to learn the principle and actually refine and fine tune our discrimination power. Another idea to understand gradations is to actually vyavhar, is to know how to deal with different persons on different level. Because if you deal with everybody with same etiquettes, then that's not a good idea. Because if you have same dealing with the king and with his minister, you will be put in jail. Simple as that. King will say, "Come on, I'm more respectable than my peon," for example. So similarly, we have to give different respects to different Vaishnavas. Or in other words, we have to give same respect, but dealing should be different externally. So Rupa Goswami says, to a neophyte, you simply offer obeisances in your mind. To Madhyamadikari, you offer obeisances physically. And to Uttamadikari, you serve him. So you have to deal in a different way. That is why we need to discriminate between devotees. How much to take association, how much to give association, and how to actually help others to elevate. If we don't understand who is new, who is senior, who is junior, we will not be able to even help them. So Prabhupada says here, this Kanishta, Madhyam and Uttam, they are also divided according to this understanding what Kapil Dev has given us. A Kanishta Adhikari, he has read scriptures, but he doesn't know the purpose of scriptures, of Prabhupada books. It's the same principle. And Madhyam Adhikaris, he knows the purpose of scriptures, and also he can solve doubts, samshaya cheta. So that means he can preach. Madhyam Adhikari is a preacher, we all know. And Uttam Adhikari is, he not only can solve doubts, he not only can preach, but he is mukta sangha. He is liberated from all material contaminations. He has followed, he has understood, he has preached, he has internalized, and he has made himself pure and perfect. That is Uttam. Same principles are working in Vaishnava community. And we divide Vaishnava community at 3 levels. So, we have to keep in mind, all Vaishnavas are respectable, but our social dealings should be very different. We give respect to everybody, but in a different way. That's the idea. The mode of delivering respect is a different. That is ordained in scriptures. Because this will help the other person and help you. And help the community to remain together. So that is what Lord Kapil is helping us.
You can go to the next verse if you like. You can go to the next
verse. But I think I can ask. So that is what Kapil Dev is explaining. And anyway, and Kapil Muni ends among Vaishnavas, among Brahmanas, Vaishnavas are topmost. Among Vaishnavas, Kanishta and Madhyam and Uttam is topmost. Among Uttamas, among the topmost devotees, who is topmost? In next verse, Kapil Muni will explain, person who has no interest outside me, who is within me and who can see within him, myself, and who can see within me himself, he is the greatest. Who is Mayi Arpita Atmana Pumso, who has dedicated all his activities. Prabhupada says in the purport, who has dedicated his mind to Krishna. That's the best offering you can do. Krishna wants your mind. Nothing, everything else you can give. But best offering is your mind, a pure mind. Now that's a very difficult offering. First you have to make your mind pure and then offer to him. That's not easy. We can give pure plates and clean prasadam and a clean body, but to give clean mind, you have to work hard. And that's what Krishna is saying. Man mana bhav mad bhakto. He wants your mind. But for that you have to do some work on your mind. You can't give impure mind to him. You can't offer to him. So he'll help you to make it pure. But that's what he wants. That's what Krishna says. He is topmost among topmost devotees, who offers his pure mind to him. And because of that, who can see me everywhere. Na pashyami param bhutam akartu samadarshanath. Who is samadarshanath. Who can see me without cessation. Who can see me without cessation in everybody. That is a pure devotee. So this is what we learn from Lord Kapil. And if there are any questions, you can ask me. I'll stop here. Hare Krishna. Is there any questions now? We have time, so I just wanted to take questions. That's all.
Thank you, Prabhuji. You gave a very nice lecture. I appreciate that. But how do you differentiate when you are associating with a new devotee? How do you know that whether it is Kanishta or Tamadikari? On first experience, how do you find it out what kind of devotee or Vaishnava he is?
Well, this is a good question. How you find out practically? So Rupa Goswami gives some guidance for that. A new devotee, he'll not be expert in scriptures. But then how do you find out he's expert in scriptures? Talk to him. So first point if you want to find out what level of devotees are there, first point is hear them, their words. That's what Prabhupada says in Bhagavatam. In Bhagavatam, Mukha Prasadat, by words of a person you can understand what he's thinking, he's feeling. And it is said, it is a normal saying that a person is known by what he speaks. No. So what are your words? Your entity is made by your words, by your language, isn't it? The manner you speak, the content you speak, that kind of personality you are, that kind of personality people will perceive you as. If you speak nonsense, people will think you're nonsense. If you speak something deep and philosophical, people think you are wise. It's just words you can know. So first thing is hear them, talk to them, and you can understand. If they don't have scriptural knowledge, if they can't solve doubts, if they're confused, they're neophytes. But if they're Shastra Nipun, we were reading, they can solve your doubts, if they know scriptures very well, and if they know on the level of realization, practical realization, that also you can understand. If simply some devotee has a theoretical knowledge, we talk to him if he has theoretical knowledge, some information, some points, then he is Madhyamadikari. But when he speaks from the platform of realization, like Prabhupada, you read Prabhupada books, we can understand by his books. He sees the same thing, we say the same thing, but his words are more powerful than our words, because that is practical realization. Prabhupada gives us practical tips which can change our life, not just theoretical knowledge, which cannot change our life. So that's by words you can understand. And next thing is by their actions. By their actions. What they do, you can understand which kind of devotee is what. A new devotee will still have bad habits. And a new devotee will, the actions will not be so refined and so trained to serve the Lord. But an advanced devotee, will be trained, and his actions will be refined, and his actions will be what can I say? More grave we can say, in the service of Lord. He will not waste time. But that new devotee, he will waste time. So these are all symptoms we can understand by that. We were discussing, there are symptoms in Nectar of Devotion. What's that? I think 18th chapter, where there are symptoms of Bhava Bhakti. And Rupa Goswami says these are symptoms which will appear when you advance in devotion. So there are 9 symptoms. You can always go back and read Nectar of Devotion, chapter 18, 9 symptoms of advancement in devotion. And if they are appearing, To the degree those symptoms appear, to that degree the person is advanced. Now, having said that, Srimad Bhagavatam gives one more guidelines. If anybody, Bhagavatam says, what's that verse? Janyati ashu vairagyam jnanam chatat ahitukam. So, what's that verse? Yeah. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojata. Janyati ashu vairagyam jnanam chatat ahitukam. So, if anybody is advancing, he will develop these two qualities in him: knowledge, renunciation, or detachment and knowledge. From detachment comes knowledge. That's very important to understand. If a devotee, if you don't find him detached, then this means he is not advanced. And without detachment, and if you find a devotee who is not detached but he is having knowledge, he is also not advanced. Because from detachment comes knowledge. The more you are detached, the more you can understand the reality of this material world. Why? Because attachment blinds you. If you are attached, you will be involved in the object. You will not be able to understand that object. You will simply be involved in that object. Like for example, a lusty person cannot understand the nature of other people whom he is talking to. No, he is simply talking to some person, some girl, female or whatever, but he doesn't understand her intentions because his whole focus is on her beauty. And that female comes, and they cheat them, take their money. He can't understand anything. Just like kings who were lusty, they were mostly being killed by using a woman. So the opponent army, they used to send a woman, and this woman was actually Nag Kanya. She was given poison from childhood. So her blood becomes poison. So she's called Vishkanya, not Nagkanya. So then she comes, but he's blinded by the lust. He can't see reality. He can't understand what's happening. He's a king. He's very intelligent. He's leading a kingdom. He can discriminate. That's why he's a king for so many years. At that point, his intelligence fails, his discrimination, his knowledge fails. He can't, because no detachment. So from detachment comes real knowledge. So that's how you can understand. If there is detachment and consequence of that detachment, there is knowledge. Both things. Then he's advanced. If there's simply knowledge, no detachment, he's not advanced. If he's detached and he's having no knowledge, then also he's not advanced. Because detachment will automatically give you knowledge. So this is how we can understand by these some points. We can have discrimination whether devotee is advanced or not, by his words, by his actions, and by the amount of knowledge and detachment he has. And also the 9 symptoms in 18th chapter Nectar of Devotion. Those symptoms, if they are in this life, then you can understand they are advanced. That's how we do. Is that clear? Is that okay?
Yes, yeah. The second question I have, that how you know that you are going to the Krishna or the Lord with a clean mind? How you decide on your own that you are going to Krishna?
Well, we can't decide that. We can't decide. Krishna decides. Nobody can tell who is going, who is not going. We might follow all regulative principles. We might chant. We might be big preachers. But nevertheless, Krishna might not take us, because we don't know what's going in our heart exactly. We might be proud of what we are doing. Another person, he might be just sweeping the floor and chanting his rounds, but he might be humble enough to do not have pride for what he is doing. Krishna takes him. So we exactly do not understand. We cannot be in absolute sense. Nobody can tell who is going. Time will tell. Many times great devotees, devotees who are doing so many things, they can be left back in this material world. People who are simple and humble and doing some service, lowly service, and they don't project themselves. Krishna takes them, and it is history repeated again and again. There was one Christian saint by the name Bernadette. I'm in America, so I'm quoting Christian saint. Bernadette. Bernadette, you can have it, look in Google, Bernadette. So she was the most stupid girl in church. She didn't read Bible. She heard, she understood, but she was following. Her quality was she did everything and anything what superior told her. Washing floors, cleaning kitchen, and she was always thinking about Lord in his mind, and she was convinced she is stupid. Anybody asked her, do you know? She said, I am stupid, I don't know anything. I simply know how to follow devotees. And God chose her to actually reveal his mysteries. So Christ's mother Mary, she revealed herself to her. And all her god sisters they couldn't believe that such a stupid devotee. How can God reveal himself to this kind of devotee? And her age was just 19 years. As a young child, that's all. But it happened like that because, why? Because she was very humble. And people like humble people. God likes humble devotees. God told other sisters, you are austere, you are scholar, but you are not humble. So that is a big virtue, to actually follow devotees of Lord and being humble. That's the best virtue, So nobody can tell, in other words, who is going, who is not going. Sometimes person is humble, but at the same time he doesn't understand anything. No Prabhupada books, nothing, and he's doing some service. And on the other hand, there are scholars like Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada was a big scholar. Bhaktisiddhanta was a scholar. And they were really scholars. So other devotees were saying, they're proud of their knowledge. And they're so strict and this, fanatic. So what is this? They should be humble. Prabhupada, God brothers came to Prabhupada. They said, you should be humble. What? You are getting so much devotees, preaching, taking name and fame. People are calling you Prabhupada. Like Bhaktisiddhanta was called Prabhupada. And they say, you are so audacious to call yourself Prabhupada, taking the same title of your guru. And you're blessing your devotees, you're writing books, and you're not even allowing them to come to Gaudiya Math. So you think you are great and this, and there was a big fight in Mayapur. But God chose Prabhupada because he could understand his heart. So externally you can never know what's happening. Only God knows whether you're going back to God or not. But having said all these things, we should keep in mind, but we don't have to really think, okay, now God decides, now I can do anything. Now that's not the point. He decides, let him do his job, let us do our job.
Right.
Our job is to serve him sincerely and purely and perfectly. We keep on doing that. And then we leave on him. Whether he takes us back or not. Even if he doesn't take us back, that's also okay. Because it's up to him. If he wants us to remain in material world and preach, well and good. If he doesn't want us to come to him, okay. So it doesn't matter actually whether we go back to Krishna or not, in one sense. What matters is whether he accepts us as his servant and keep us with him or keep us here, keep us anywhere. Whether he keeps us in his thoughts, in his mind, and he considers us as his servant. That's what matters. And that will happen when we please him or his representative, Srila Prabhupada. That's where we have to work on. To try to please devotees and spiritual master. And the rest we can leave on Krishna. But there are signs, but Krishna will give you signs that he is coming close to you. He is accepting you. And there are some signs which you can know. And one of the signs is that if we are advancing, if we are going closer to Krishna, then he will reveal himself in holy name. That's a sure short sign. Prabhupada says, when you chant, holy name will reveal name, qualities, forms and pastimes. If that is happening, Krishna is revealing. This means Krishna is coming closer to you. He wants to come close to you. He wants you to close to him. Come close. So that means some assurity we are going back to Godhead. if name, form, qualities are, if by chanting a remembrance of Krishna is coming spontaneously, and this means Krishna is merciful and he is helping us. So these are certain indications by which we can become some sort of sure, Krishna is planning us to take us back to him, but absolutely 100% nobody can tell. That's not possible. Is it okay? Is it fine?
Yes, thank you, Prabhu. This is very nice explanation.
Yeah. And also, the last point to your question is this. So one of the devotee, Kanak Das, he said, who will go back to Godhead? When I goes, then I may go. This is this. When the I within you, that false ego goes, then you may go. And that's what is the last thing I want to quote. Okay, so that's the answer.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam.
Dandavad.
Prabhuji, I have a question. Could you please throw some light on this Kanishthaka, Madhyama and Uttamadhikari? What level and how it is elevated?
Yeah, Prabhupada.
Level.
Yeah, Prabhupada says in the purport, a Vaishnava who knows science of absolute truth but is not able to preach is described as lower stage. So that's Prabhupada brings preaching. If you can't preach, and if you don't preach, then that person is neophyte. He might be scholarly, but if he doesn't preach, he is considered as neophyte. And that's also the point. So, why? Because preaching needs some virtues and not just knowledge. You need virtue of compassion. You need virtue of tolerance. You need virtue of determination. Without these virtues, you will not preach and you will not be able to preach. Simply knowledge will not help you. So that's Kanishth. He has knowledge but have no virtues and no good qualities. So that's neophyte. So if you want to elevate yourself, or anybody wants to elevate himself from a neophyte condition to Madhyam, he has to preach, not just take knowledge of scriptures. So neophyte is one who doesn't have knowledge of scriptures, or he might have knowledge of scriptures but he doesn't preach. Both of them. Or sometimes he might have knowledge of scriptures but is not able to preach. Prabhupada says he is not able to preach such knowledge to others. So all those conditions, they are neophyte. And then comes Madhyam Adhikari. So second stage is one who understands principles of science of God but can also preach. So Madhyam Adhikari is he can preach and he will preach. Both things. And highest is one who not only can preach but also sees in everything absolute truth. And absolute truth in everything is highest class of Vaishnavas. He is not just preaching, but he can actually get his message through, not through just his intelligence, but right through and through in his soul. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he used to chant his chanting of holy name, he used to penetrate all layers of his false identity and touch his soul. No, animals were chanting Hare Krishna. No, because Mahaprabhu's holy name he had power to penetrate that holy name and actually touch the soul. Why? Because he could see exactly that this is soul different from body and it's connected to Krishna. He's seeing at level of soul, so his message is going at level of soul. Simple. We are seeing at level of body, so our message is going at level of body. It's as simple as that. So an Uttam Adhikari is one who can change people's life, who can preach, who can see in everything Krishna. And because he can see in everything in Krishna and Krishna in everything, because of that mere fact, his message is effective. And he can change people's life. He can bring a revolution. Acharya, Srila Prabhupada. So that is an Uttam Adhikari. So that's how there are three kind of devotees. You can distinguish them in many ways, but the main discrimination point is preaching. It's very important. A person who doesn't preach is envious, by the way. That's Madhva says. So neophytes are envious. They have all enviousness, lust, and so by preaching you overcome enviousness. That's also a principle. So if we want to elevate, we have to preach, or we can assist in preaching. It's all the same. Everybody cannot preach, no. I mean to say, females will think, we have kids, we have cooking, how can we preach? Okay, no problem. You assist in preaching. You make prasadam for preachers. Because if they don't eat, how will they preach? So directly, indirectly, we all have to propagate this preaching mission. And if possible, everybody should speak about Krishna. Maybe 2 friends, 3 friends, not a big program. Maybe just you and your husband. That's all. Discuss something. That discussion is also preaching. So that's the difference between Kanishth, Madhyam and Uttam. So this point of preaching will also bring other points, you see. So you will find different definitions of Kanishth, Madhyam and Uttam. For example, it is said Kanishth is that who still have enviousness. Madhyam and Uttam are free from enviousness. Kanishth is that who still have whose mind is impure. Uttam's mind is pure. There are so many definitions, but all definitions are linked to this point of preaching. All points come from this point. Just like from a bud blossoms into flower and there is a fragrance. Everything comes from the bud. So this is the crux. This is what Prabhupada mentions in his purport. That's why Prabhupada brings the point of preaching in his purport. Preaching in his purport. And by that we can understand who is Kanishth, Madhyam and Uttam. So is that clear? Is that clear to you? That's one of the most important point. Preaching. Along with other secondary points. We can have a look. One who preaches, his heart will automatically become pure. So then you can understand, yes. He is an elevated devotee. Some devotees preach also, but their heart is not pure because their intent is not pure. They preach for some ulterior motives. So we have to see on a holistic platform. Prabhupada says, yes, who preaches, who doesn't preach, he is Kanishth. Who preaches, he is Madhyam. Whose preaching is effective, he can change people's life, he is Uttam. Yes, very nice. But at the same time, we have to understand, we have to look at other things also. If a person is preaching and he's making many devotees, but at the same time he's having ulterior motives, then he is not an Uttamadhikari. There is some problem. So it's not just one point. So that is why Prabhupada mentions one who can not only preach but see in everything absolute truth. In everything he can see Krishna. That means along with preaching, his heart is also pure. His intentions are pure. His intention of preaching is to help devotees and serve Krishna. With this intention, if somebody is preaching, and this intention is becoming mature, and his preaching is effective, he is advancing. The purer the intention, the more his preaching is, he is more elevated devotee. It goes like that. Is it okay? Is it clear?
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I have one more question. So regarding that, like we are following the parampara system. Another, I saw that in India that many that sages going to meditate in Himalaya and this Bhaktivedanta, but those sages just doing meditation but never back. So what they do and how they, as you say, we have 3 levels of that, but they are never preach and means share the realization, and sometimes it comes in rumors in that means nowadays media is showing that so many rumors. How those means elevated soul or realized soul understood and like be coming to parampara system like Chaitanya Prabhu when he is like Uttamadhikari. So how this two means parallel work, Prabhuji, and how we is also elevated.
So many sages in Himalayas?
Sorry, Prabhuji?
No, so many sages in Himalayas you're talking about?
Yeah, means they are going Badrinath. I heard that Badrinath and Himalayas they go but never back. They doing thousands year out.
Well, they were there, and there are sages there. So many. There might be some sages still in Himalayas who are. There might be some sages still in Himalayas who are elevated. But at the same time, those people are exceptions. We can't take them in general routine. According to our parampara, according to our school, we judge by preaching. They might be great devotees, but in Kali Yuga, anybody who doesn't participate in Mahaprabhu's movement, mostly he must fall down. He can't elevate, because he is the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Yuga avatar. So that is why you see so many media people, they claim themselves sages and they go and then they're exposed as false gurus or something like that. So some people might be there, but they are exceptions. We can't take them in routine. They are exceptions.
Like our Radhanath Swami Prabhuji went Himalaya, met some Guru Kailash Bhagavad Thakur. I heard some lecture with them.
Well, that's okay, but Maharaj met many people. But it doesn't mean that they were topmost devotees or something. So in fact, they were not even devotees, they were Mayavadis. Maharaj writes, no? They were Mayavadis. So Maharaj says that they were good people. As a person, they were good. But he doesn't say that they were devotees. So, of course, they were not devotees. You can see they're Mayavadis. So that discrimination we have to keep, no? So he acknowledges that. So we are not supposed to associate with them, and neither we glorify them. But he's just talking about his history. He went, he met them. They were nice people, and he learned from them. That's all. But then he understood afterwards that those people are Mayavadis. So Prabhupada is perfect. He is Vaishnava. So that's why he came to Vaishnavism, because he could understand that discrimination, no? That philosophy is not correct. So he took to this. But you can learn from anybody. That's only the point which I think Maharaj is trying to make in his book. That's all.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvat.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I just want to share something which I learned today. I am in Vrindavan.
Oh.
And one of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, she mentioned because we are on the Radharaman temple and not Radharaman, our ISKCON temple, we go to Mangalarti and then we distribute books. At the same time, after Tulsi Aarti, we distribute books. And she was mentioning to me, when we are distributing books to the people, they are coming for Mangalarti, and then they take, sometime we sold all the 20, 25 or 50 books to the people, and sometime 1 or 2 books. And she mentioned to us why we feel so happy when we sell the books to the people. What is the reason behind it? Why we feel so happy? And Prabhupada mentioned in his book, and Prabhupada said, because why you feel so happy? Because you make Chaitanya Mahaprabhu happy. You are distributing books. That's why you feel so happy, so satisfied. So he gives you hug. Because your heart is pure, you are doing it seva, you are distributing the books, and that's why you feel so happy.
Yeah, that's nice.
Not know, and that's beauty. When you are in the Vrindavan Dham and you learn from Prabhupada disciples, which they are 50 years they are distributing books and 30 years distributing books. That's why we did not know.